What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the UFC 317 edition of Clint's Hot Props. Let's talk about my favorite props on this card, and there's a lot of them that we can chat about, so I'm just going to kind of spray the board this week. I'm not sure how many of these I'm playing, so you get more of a breakdown this week than normal because I like a lot of the sound of these. The first one I want to talk to you about is Denise taking on UFC newcomer Alvin Hines. Denise by knockout is minus 150. I think that's a nice little cut on his money line. I do believe Denise is going to win this fight, and more often than not, if he's winning a fight, he's probably finishing it. He's such a good kickboxer. He hits really hard. He's got a nice 1-2 down the middle. I just don't think Alvin Hines is UFC caliber, you guys. That's kind of all this comes down to. So I feel like this is a bit of a throw some fresh meat to a UFC guy that needs to get a highlight reel finish under his belt, and that's what we end up getting. So little chalky. You guys know I hate those, but at the end of the day, I do think it happens. So Denise KO minus 150. The next one I want to talk to you about is a little bit more fun. Terrence McKini takes on Vichlav Borchev, and I like the Terrence McKini by sub prop. You guys, a lot of people have been burning money on this T-Rex by sub prop just time and time and time again. They look for it over and over and over again, and now everyone's gotten away from it. Why? Because he either loses or he wins by KO. So people are off the Terrence McKini by submission train. I think this is the time to go back to it. Vichlav Borchev does not know how to defend takedowns. It's not possible. He can't do it. So because we know this, Terrence McKini is not going to stand on the feet with a guy he's completely outgunned by. Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's long, he's big, he's fast, he's explosive. He might crack him with one early. That's entirely possible. But more often than not, I think Terrence McKini knows with his 5 TKO losses that he doesn't want to be standing on the feet with Vichlav Borchev. So I fully expect a ground game related fight. The difference being on this one, like a lot of people are recalling Slaviklaw's last big highlight reel loss to my guy Chase Hooper. He got submitted in that fight. It took a fancy ass sub. Chase was able to kind of float and stay on top. He's able to, mind those jiu-jitsu positions and scramble and roll. The thing is, I don't know that someone like Terrence McKini is really going to be able to do that because he's more of a wrestler. What he's going to look is consolidate back control, be bigger and stronger than you, buckle in, and call it a day. We see that with wrestlers all the time. They're so strong, the squeeze is so tight, there's not going to be any finesse here. So I think that's the way this thing goes, is he's just going to outmuscle Vichlav Borchev on the ground and kind of make him his bitch early on here in this fight. So I like that plus 300 number by sub. It's something we've seen before. It's something Slav has lost to before. I think it's time, T-Rex. Go out there, go ahead, get a little notch in your belt, get me that sub prop at 3-1. Next up, Gregory Rodriguez takes on Jack Hermanson. And I talked about this one a little bit on the total show. I think this fight is going the distance, you guys. Both these guys are in interesting situations. Gregory is coming off of a loss, a championship rounds loss where he got knocked out. He's not necessarily going to want to rush right back in after something like that. Jack Hermanson is, while he's a bit of a finisher on the regional scene, like pre-UFC, he's got a million knockouts. He's got a bunch of subs. He's just not really doing that at the UFC level. And on top of that, he's now fighting a guy who's a BJJ black belt who's going to have a huge size advantage on him. He's not going to box this guy up and break his chin, I don't think, unless Gregory Rodriguez is just completely broken from his last fight, which, don't get me wrong, totally possible. But basically what I see is kind of a muted effort from both guys. I think both guys are going to be desperate to stay in the win column here. Gregory Rodriguez absolutely needs a bounce back. Jack Hermanson is looking to put a little streak together. So what we get from that is probably more of a cautious tale here. I think this ends up going over, and I do think Gregory Rodriguez probably steals moments with big shots and just kind of that lumbering forward pressure that judges seem to like. Plus 225 for Hobocop by decision. I think that's kind of a sneaky way to bring his price down and take a roll of the dice with some plus money. The next one gets a little interesting for me, you guys. Pton Talbot and Felipe Lima. I kind of like the round 3 sprinkle here on my boy Pton Talbot. I know. You guys didn't see that one coming. I'm sure you didn't. Pton Talbot is a guy who gets stronger. He's a builder. Over the course of his fights, he ramps up. And I know a lot of people are going to call back to his fight with Yanis Grimori, where he won in the first 19 seconds of that fight, just absolutely sparked him and put him down. Well, I'm talking about the Hani Barcelos fight, where he got taken down, and then towards the end of that fight, he was shucking takedowns and throwing flying knees in the third round. He gets better the deeper the fight goes. Felipe Lima, everyone's obsessed with this kid, but against Muhammad Naimov, yes, he won in round 3, and that's going to be most people's opinion, is that, or not opinion, that's going to be their argument, is that he won that fight in round 3. However, what I saw was a guy that was struggling against a much lower caliber fighter on the feet, and kind of needed a Hail Mary to go ahead and win that fight at the end of it. Naimov made one mistake. This kid is so slick on the ground, he wrapped up his neck and he took it home, but it was literally in like the first minute of the fight in round 3, and you could tell that it was just the fact that that he got the perfect angle, he got to the position quick, and it was over. It wasn't because he dominated it, it wasn't because he forced it. It was very opportunistic for him to find that finish, but he had been a bit on the back ropes up until that point. I think he's going to struggle with the grappling against my boy Talbot. I think he's going to get shown there's levels to this thing on the feet. He's also going to be at a height and reach disadvantage. I think Pton Talbot chops away at him and ends up finishing him later on in this fight, and that's 14-1 for Pton Talbot to win in round 3. Now, more than likely, both these guys are really solid prospects. I do feel like we could be seeing a decision here, and I just want to mention Talbot by decision is plus 450. I do not understand why the decision for Lima is plus 100 and Talbot is plus 450. That is a massive difference in number value for what should be a very competitive fight, because Pton Talbot is going to be the better striker. People are expecting Lima to be the better grappler and have a huge wrestling advantage here. I don't think that that's going to be as pronounced as people are expecting, and I also think that Pton Talbot will be completely prepared for that. So just looking at numbers, if you think this fight goes the distance, Talbot by decision at plus 450 is something you might want to take a look at. But you guys know me. Degenerate, round 3 sprinkle, 14-1. Can't help myself. Beneil Dariush by KO is the next one I want to talk to you about. Now, Beneil Dariush is probably the most popular dog on the board. Everybody I've seen, everybody I know, Beneil Dariush is getting thrown around all over the place here on this one. I'm not entirely certain I agree. This fight is very, very difficult, but I think Beneil might be completely fried, you guys. I don't think his chin is there anymore, and when that chin falls away, it kind of does things to your game. It makes you fight outside of your normal abilities, and it just makes things weird. So I don't know that Beneil Dariush is going to be the side here on this fight, but at plus 350 for Beneil Dariush by knockout, that's something that we at least have to look at, because Hinat Moano falls apart deeper in fights. We've seen that before. He goes so hard early on, and when he doesn't get his way, he completely collapses. So if Benny's able to shuck takedowns, keep this guy off him, tire him out, we know Moicano is going to be gasping for air come round 2, round 3. Benny KO round 2 is 11-1. Benny KO round 3 is 20-1. Now, I think this fight is going to finish at some point, and I think those numbers are sexy as all get out if you like the underdog in Beneil Dariush. The next fight is Brandon Royval and Josh Van. I think you have to at least entertain the idea of Royval via submission. I think it's more of a club and sub situation. We've seen Joshua Van hurt a lot. He's moving up weight classes here. Not weight classes, but he's moving up classes here in a big, big way as far as his level of competition goes. This is a short notice opportunity against one of the elites of the division, and he's going to be dealing with height and reach disadvantages yet again at an elite level for striking and grappling. Like, this is just a really tall order for our guy, Josh Van. I want to believe in him. I absolutely do, but I think Royval should be favored here in this fight. If Van gets clipped on the feet, Royval's going to snatch a neck. We know this. And we have not seen Joshua Van grappling defensively at this level, period. You know, he's fought some lower level guys, some guys that have tried to take him down and stuff like that, but Brandon Royval is not that guy. Brandon Royval is going to stand with him in the chaos and trade until he finds an opening, and then if he has an opportunity to take the back or lock up some kind of go-go plata, he will take it at that point. So, plus 700 for Royval to go ahead and hit that club and sub. That's a crazy number, and I'm probably going to have a taste of it at some point in this week. Alexandre Pantoja and Kai Kara-France. Kind of a similar story to the last fight a little bit. I have to take a look at Pantoja by sub, you guys. Plus 225. It's a 5-round title fight. So with Kai Kara-France, yes, he's got the best takedown defense in the division. Yes, he's going to be hard to wrestle. However, Pantoja is the champ. We also know he's got hands. So there's nothing that says Pantoja can't crack Kai Kara-France and put him down. There's nothing that says that Pantoja, over the course of a 25-minute fight, won't have the ability to finally find his way to the back of Kai Kara-France. There's nothing to say that Kai Kara-France won't make a mistake after clubbing Alexandre Pantoja and ending up following him to the mat. There's a lot of ways this fight hits the ground. And for the champion, somebody who's choking people out now with regularity, plus 225, got to take a look at it. The other thing on this one is the Kai Kara-France KO TKO or DQ. I know that's probably a very popular prop this week. I do just need to make mention of it at plus 550. I think it's something you should take a look at. I've talked many times about how I want to fade Alexandre Pantoja. We've seen him rocked a bunch of times. We've seen his cardio dip off at the end of round 3 and towards round 4, and that's when he's kind of helpless. He does always find his way to the backpack, and he just chokes around away, and then he comes out in round 5 and has just enough to go ahead and get the win. We've seen it a lot. If Kaikar France is able to back this guy off, keep him on his heels, and not give up that body triangle in the third or the fourth round, I think that KO is going to be super live, and I think the later rounds is probably where it's most live. He's going to have to survive those early rounds and still have some gas in the tank to pull that off, but the late round sprinkles, Kaikar France by KO, round 3, round 4, round 5, 28-1, 30-1, 40-1. Those are some numbers that I absolutely think are worth some sprinkles if you're looking to get degenerate. Main event, Ilia Topuria takes on Charles Oliveira. And guys, it's the chalk for me. I think it's Ilia Topuria's time. I talked about this on the Total Takedown as well. I just can't really play this fight out in my head and find much of another way for this thing to go. Ilia Topuria seems untouchable. We talk about aura very jokingly and sarcastically. He's actually got it though. Like, I know he's the best Conor McGregor imitator on planet Earth these days, and he's going to get paid on the Vegas Strip to, look like the guy, but at the end of the day, he's a lot like the guy, and he's got that crazy power, and he's going to fit right in at 155. He's not so undersized that it's going to be a huge problem. He's very well built and well muscled. I think he's going to hurt Charles Oliveira in this fight, and I think he's going to end up putting him away at some point. I know you could argue for the submission prop at plus 500, but let's be real. Only like massive killer grapplers are taking out Charles Oliveira, guys that are able to bully him physically on the mat, guys like the champ, or the former champ, I guess, since he moved up to 170. So I'm not really going to entertain that very much. You could look on the flip side of this thing and take a shot on Charles Oliveira to win by submission at plus 750. I don't hate it. I kind of feel like that is his avenue, his path to victory. But at the end of the day, Ilia Topuria is a far better grappler, I think, than people give him credit for. He's extremely underrated. I don't really see it. So, yeah, I might be a lamb to slaughter on this one, you guys, but I just kind of think the chalk rolls here with Ilia Topuria winning this fight, eventually finding the button by knockout. It's minus 175. It's gross, but that's what I think happens. There's Clint's hot props. Good luck this week gambling, you guys. Let's roll.